Charlene, I need to take this girl out and I ain't got no money. Where am I going to take her? Charlene, you need to take her to the park. What's happening, people? Welcome to Added Value Podcast, the biggest show on the net. I'm Jason, the self-titled superstar. Jay.
Me llamo Jerome. Grande arriba. Mis inquilinos. Vamos. Yeah, man.
Easy. What he said. But yeah, man. Welcome to the positivity area, the upliftment corner, the spot where you get the good vibes every time. Yo, let's go straight in and big up the subscribers. Big you up every single time. But the real subscribers are the ones that be sharing it and integrating and putting stuff in the comments and, you know what I mean, vibing with us. Yeah, man. We've been missing for a little while, but we're back in again. But a lot has been going on, you know. Kanye West has been wearing Ku Klux things. Get me?
In the black leather.
Donald Trump's been tanking the stock market. They're going crazy. But yeah, something closer to home. Bouncer, big up Bouncer in his podcast saying there's only 7 millionaires in the UK.
UK music, hip-hop industry.
UK music industry. But there's a lot of stunters out there will show you differently. You know what I mean? If you go by the way people are carrying on, you'd think that there's 100.
Well, some people thought there was 100 still. Because I was naming a whole heap of names in the comments.
But I'm glad that he brought it up because I think regardless if there's 7 or 70 millionaires, there's a wider conversation to be had. Because there's definitely a difference between looking rich and being rich, acting rich and having money. And for me, what I see in our culture is getting money to stunt on people. You know what I mean? And other cultures, they get money to make money so they can have money.
Well, the hip-hop is a unique thing because from the 80s, hip-hop's always been a place where they've said you have to stunt. Because if you don't stunt, if you don't wear the chains and the clothes, you can't get through on a mainstream level anyway.
Yeah, that too. But I think it is even systemic as well because for a lot of the time, we never had nothing. So as soon as we wanted to get money, we wanted to celebrate it.
Yeah, nah. I mean, did you watch the... there's a video going around on Instagram. I think it's like the 1920s, 1930s in America. And it's like a documentary news kind of video, on the video from the 1920s, 30s. But it's like doing a documentary, it's talking about Negroes. The Negro, they like to, that is in the shops, so that the Negro, they like to look like they have money. And it's like show you how to... Yeah,
it's a documentary about how to sell to the Negro.
Yeah.
And it's saying, if you're not selling to the Negro, you're missing out on a market cap there.
But for a lot of people that watch that video, you can see the same things from 1920, or probably 1940s, 50s, that was made. Same thing from them times. It's still relevant to this day. But yeah, as you said, it's that thing of that when you don't have, you want to look like you do have, or when you do have, you want to show that you have got it because you're used to not having it. So yeah, it can be a cycle still.
Yeah, but definitely people were going at Bouncer. They was on him.
Yeah, and we had a conversation about it, and I feel like a big part of that is, as you said, whether there is only 7, people don't want to believe that the number is so limited. And I think there's different reasons for that. But I think people want to believe, because if there's only 7 millionaires in the UK hip-hop industry, then it means it's a lot harder to be a millionaire than, and then if he ain't made it and he ain't made it and he ain't made it, then what chances have I to make it? So yeah, it's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow.
No, 100%. But yeah, it goes back to what I was saying is people playing rich rather than being rich. And probably as you were saying, it's probably a lot easier to play rich than to be rich, because if there is only 7 millionaires, then boy.
Well, the thing is, so like, if you break down, obviously I'm not in the music industry, but I do know a little bit of business. But because people saying different things, like, this one signed a deal for £1 million. But if you just know a little bit about the music industry, you know that £1 million is a loan. So they didn't get signed and £1 million went in their bank. Well, £1 million did go in their bank account. But that £1 million was for all the expenses, the studio, every penny they spent comes from that £1 million. So every day that £1 million is going down and down and down. So no, they're not. Yes, on Monday in 2021 they had £1 million. But fast forward 2 years, they're down a couple. All that's gone, and hopefully they've recouped it through the music. But more time. That's not the case.
But anyway, I remember back in the day, because even I'm a victim of playing rich as well. Because I remember back in the day, as soon as I got a little bit of money, I bought a BMW. You know what I mean? And bro, that was me rolling with my wealth. That was my whole wealth rolling, and yeah.
Yeah, for the black community that I know, the number one place to put your wealth is in the car, because not everyone sees where you live. So if you had 10 grand, 15 grand, you put it all in the car, because, as I said, no one will see where you live. Live a little bit and put it for your clothes. But yeah, that's where the money went.
But just to go back, so yeah, I had a car. It was nice. I enjoyed it, you know what I mean, for a number of years. But depreciated, and I don't no longer have the car. But I know a similar time to that, I remember you buying a house. You know what I mean? And all that's done is grow for you, and you know what I mean? It's an asset.
Yeah, I think, for me, going back them times there, so you're talking about buying a house. My first house I bought, which was a buy-to-let, was 8 years ago. And for me, it was an easy decision for me. I don't think for most people it is, but for me, that was the plan. So going back 8 years ago, probably going back another 5 years ago, the plan was to buy the house. So from them times, I was saving money. So I had that one single mind in my head the whole time. So I bought little cars, I bought second-hand cars, 3 grand, 5 grand cars or whatever. But my main goal was always to buy the house. So that was always my vision. So my focus was always on that. And yeah, so for me, the distractions in terms of buying certain things, like buying a certain car, I didn't have it where the other people had it. So I was just single-minded on that. So yeah, that was my thing, just single-minded.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, at the time when I bought my car, I was charged up. You know what I mean? I was the big boy on the road. Gal was loving it. I was loving it. You get me? It was a vibe. And if I was to go back, I probably would do it again, you know what I mean? Because I enjoyed my time.
Yeah.
But that's our culture, that's our thing. But it goes back to, like I was saying, we spend our money and other people take their money and grow their money.
Yeah, and I think for me, as I said, it's about having, when it comes to money, you have to know what you're doing with it. And if you don't know what you're doing with it, then I think you have to see. So you have to see ahead. And if you can't, and a lot of people, they can't see past tomorrow. So if you can't see past tomorrow, then your spending is only be for tomorrow. So if you can buy and see a car tomorrow, so you're gonna do that. When I bought the house, that was a vision. The benefits was years to come. So you have to see that. Someone can't just tell you, Someone will say, buy a house or buy this, that's a good investment or whatever. But unless you can really see 3-4 years ahead and really understand it, then, and if you can only see tomorrow, then that's where your money's gonna go.
But yeah, the reason why I raised this conversation is because I see this happening time after time after time. People are getting these leases or hire purchase and whatever, and they're spending £500-600 a month trying to keep up with these payments on cars. And then if it's a lease, by the time you've done that for 5 years, you've given them how much? 20 grand. And at the end of it, all you do is give them back the car, or you go and get another ride and you go back into the same thing again. But I don't know about you, but if I'm blowing that money on a car, I don't know how much I'm saving on top of that. Do you know what I mean? It's hard times right now.
Yeah. No, especially in these times. But again, I think it goes back to having a blueprint. And I think in other communities, even probably in the African community, I think in the Caribbean community, there's a lack of a blueprint. And I think if you can see a man that's gone through the 10-year struggle and you've seen his journey and you've seen the end of it, then there's something to follow. And I think we lack the blueprint. So whether it's business or you see a man buy a shop and you see his struggle and you see, wow, 10 years down the line, he's bust through. But you have to be able to really see the journey to be able to really, and I don't think we have that blueprint in our community.
But I remember you saying at the time you had a cheat code, you got a company car.
Yeah. Again, my thing is it's hard to describe my thing because I'm very calculated. So everything, I do maths on everything. So again, going back to the vision of buying a house, when I was looking for a career and I found out about the company car, I was like, that one-on-one made two there. It's like, cool, that knocks out that problem because as you said, there is a massive temptation to have a nice car. So having a company car through work, sort of put that to the side. And yeah, having a company, I've been driving company cars for over 10 years now. It's the biggest blessing. It saved me tens of thousands of pounds. Easily, tens of thousands of pounds. And all that money that I've saved from cars has gone, literally all of it's gone into property.
All right, well, let's lean into that then because I know you're not a man that spends a lot of money on designer clothes or jewelry or cars or these things. What is it delayed gratification for you to know that there's a bigger plan, or what is it that makes you feel like, yeah, I don't have to sign up to what everyone else is signing up to?
Do you know the maddest thing? I spend my clothes literally pound for pound is cheaper in 2025 than it was in 2000. I remember I bought a pair of boxers for £20 and I was in year 9 or whatever it was. And I'd buy I wasn't buying big name brands, but I'd buy the Nikes and whatever, the Nikes, £100 trainers, whatever. I was spending the money. My trainers now are cheaper than it was in 2005 or whatever it is. But it all goes down to, as I said, so for me, I went into, when I done my first full-time job, studying at university, doing a 9 to 5 in the office, and I said, I can't do this for 40, 50 years. I was like, I can't spend my life 40, 50 years doing a 9 to 5 in the office. So from that, it was about, I had to find a solution. How do I not make that happen, make that a possibility? And for that, when I built a plan to come out of not having a career for 40, 50 years, it was just following it to the T. So for me, delayed gratification becomes so easy because I'm just single-minded on that. So my biggest fear is being working 9 to 5 for 40 years. That fear is way stronger than my fear of not looking good, going out and not wearing the latest. That fear is there. The fear of being stuck in the office for 50 years is 10 times way bigger. Yeah, well, I've been reading a book. It's called The Millionaire Next Door. Did I tell you about it? Yeah, you mentioned a little bit.
But basically what it is, it's done like a survey of a lot of millionaires in America and just interviewing them, what their habits are or how did they accumulate their money. And the results, they're surprising because you would think that they have to earn big salaries to get to millions, when that's not the truth. The truth is the frugalness, living below your means, and definitely not showing everybody else that you're rich. So there was basically a story in it where there was a man and he was basically getting in a hoopty, like a tired car, and driving to work every day. And there was another guy, he was he had a big car. So he was looking down on the other guys who thinking, well, obviously you ain't got no money because you're driving a tired car. But when he looked into the situation properly, he saw that this man had a nice house. He had in a nice community, in a nice area, going on holidays all the time. And when you looked at his bank balance, it was crazy. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, definitely check out that book.
Do you know what, you saying that, do you know what, my journey, so I've always been frugal. So from I can remember, I've had a piggy bank and I put money in it, whether it's £1, literally £1 from. So I've always been frugal. But buying my first property, that's when I learned about assets and the power of assets. And I think that's what goes into a man's ability to buy a hoopty and be comfortable in a hoopty. Because when I bought my first property and I bought a buy-to-let, I said, rah, buying a property, buying an asset is actually a magic trick. Because I spent 30 grand on my first buy-to-let. So usually everything, up until that point, everything I purchased, whether it was a PlayStation or a car, I'd spend that money, whether it's 3 grand on a car, and from the time I purchased it, that money is going down. Everything, the value of it is going down. The property was the first thing I bought where I spent 30 grand on it, and every penny of that 30 grand a year later was still there. And then 2 years, so I bought a whole house, whole 3-bedroom house for 30 grand, and all of that money, minus little fees and whatever, all of that money was still there. I was like, wow, that's a magic trick. How do you buy a house and I've still got the 30 grand and the house? From time I was like, from time I learned that magic trick.
But don't small up your thing, you know. It's not a house. You got a couple houses now, yeah, Jay. That's not.
Yeah, so after that magic trick, I said, let's do some more magic out here. But yeah, no, when you really, I was like, that was a feeling. I've tried to tell people that, but I swear it's a feeling. You got to feel it for yourself to really, and when you get that feeling, money looks different. So there's times where I was supposed to go out to someone's birthday or whatever it is, and I don't go out. And the way I look at it, I say the £100, I literally call it a brick. You know, a brick, palm brick. That's me, brick, palm brick. So if I've not gone out, I say the £100, I know that £100 ain't going nowhere. I'm not going to divert it onto something else. That £100 is staying in my bank account. And that's literally, I look at it as a 1 brick of a house. I was like, cool. That saved me 1 brick. I'm 1 brick closer to buying the next property. And for me, yeah, so before I started off being frugal, just saving for saving's sake. But yeah, buying that first property made that switch to actually seeing money differently and just going, yeah, it's not just £100. I can do magic with this. So cool, I can go out and spend it and buy a few drinks, or I can actually do some magic. It's actually magic beans. So yeah, so for me, yeah, I just look at everything so differently now.
But do you know what's crazy though? Is obviously you bought that house a while ago, but we're in a time now where there's no middle class. You've got money or you haven't. And what do we do now? Obviously, you're saying £100 and building assets and all that, but now you need £100,000. So where do we go from that? The new conversation is that basically the middle class is getting destroyed. You either got money or you haven't. To dumb it down, you either have assets or you don't. You have houses or stocks and whatever, or you're just scraping by just to make ends meet. And for me, I feel like there's so much smoke and mirrors going on. They're making it easy for us to be able to go to the dealership and drive out a car, and then we're thinking, all right, cool, we're middle class now. When I think that's the new broke, where you're taking all your money and putting it towards cars and these things that are depreciating, and basically you just have to work. And at the end of it, you ain't gonna have nothing.
Yeah, I think the times that we're in now, that acquiring assets is just getting harder and harder. And I know you mentioned, I think it's Gary Stevenson.
Yeah, Gary Stevenson.
Yeah. So I think you mentioned him. And he's a multi-millionaire. And he's talking about taxing the rich because he just sees that gap between the wealthy and the poor is just getting wider and wider. And for him, he's saying it because the rich are so rich, they're just acquiring the assets, and it's just making it harder for the poorer people to acquire assets. And that's what I can see. For me, if I had to start again and trying to and buy a property now and buy assets now, for me, I feel like it'd be 3-4 times harder. So for me, if I was to start again, I really have to look at things very differently from how I would 10 years ago. I mean, we laugh and joke because before our times, in terms of buying property, we were talking about the 100% mortgages and 105% mortgages. So imagine before our time, people were buying houses and the bank was giving them money. so not to say it was easy to buy assets them times, but it sounded like it was. But it's definitely a lot easier than it is today. So for me, I feel like if I had to start again, I really have to look at riches and wealth and money very differently. And for me, I think the number one thing I've told myself is to learn to enjoy, literally really enjoy and be happy and be content with what I have at the moment. Whatever that is, learn to enjoy it, appreciate it thoroughly with real gratitude. I have a little gratitude, but I don't have the best. But if I start again today, I'd have to learn to have real thorough gratitude and enjoy what I have, because there's a chart that shows the correlation between money and happiness. So it says there's a strong correlation, so there's a strong relationship between money and happiness when you have no money. So when you have no money, then obviously your happiness is low. So as you get a little bit more money, your happiness will grow. You get a little bit more money, so you have 10 grand, then your happiness will grow. You get 20 grand, your happiness will grow. Because you can pay your bills, you can pay for holidays. Those things, if you can pay your bills, you can go on holiday, you're going to be happier than someone that can't pay their bills and can't go on holiday. But at a certain point, and it's at that sort of comfortable level, when you can pay your bills, you can go on holiday, the correlation between money and happiness starts to divert.
Yeah, I think I saw something where it says once you get to 100 grand, money has nothing to do with whether you're going to be happy or not.
So, and yeah, I can believe that and I can understand that. So I think in today's age, we're told about, we always have to be a millionaire. We see billionaires and we're looking for the big payout. But I think if you're way back and way far from that, I think the best thing to do is understand that correlation between money and happiness and find out where you need to get to. So, cool, it may be 100 grand or it may be 30 grand.
Listen, my life is set up because I'm married, I've got my children, I've got my friends, I've got a large family. The only thing I ain't got is money. Bro, bring money into my equation, I'm happy. But in reality, I'm happy already though. I'm a happy person, you know. But I do have things. I drive cars, got a house, got a family. I have. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, put some more money on top of that, bro. You know exactly what's happening. We're charged up.
Yeah. Well, I think you're in a position where you can have that focus on money, because I feel like, as you said, you have those things and you have everything you need for happiness, and you're just looking, the next level for you, the way you see it is money. But I feel a lot of people, a lot of things are broken. So the family life, the family situation is broken.
Yeah, if you're trying to replace that with money,
and you're focusing on money,
then you're in trouble.
And it's like, I hear a lot of people say, talking about to the young guys and say, yeah, if you ain't got no money, you shouldn't be dating. You should focus on money before you start dating. For some people that might be true, and for other people it definitely is not true. And I feel like if those things, those core things, because at the end of the day, money is only a tool.
But the reason why I would say that's rubbish is because when I was coming up, I didn't have no money and I was getting girls. But the more I was spending time with these women that have standards, was making me get in position to get money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So we weren't, I don't know, this new thing of, you better take me out to Hakkasan and all these things, that weren't even a thing for me back then. So I couldn't even relate to any of that. You know what I mean? I remember back in the day, if I took a girl Nando's, like, I'm looking after her. Do you know what I mean? She's in a vibe.
Listen, I'm not even baiting up my thing, but yeah, I've probably taken a girl, 3-4 girls Nando's on that level. Maybe it's not Nando's, wherever it is in my life. All that dating thing I never really done.
Let me give you a joke. I remember there was one time, I was saying, I rang Charlene and I said, Charlene, I need to take this girl out and I ain't got no money. Where am I going to take her? She said, Charlene, you need to take her to the park. I said, Charlene, what am I going to do in the park? She said, go for a stroll, hold hands, it's nice.
Pick up the park. I done a few days at the park still.
Mad thing, yeah. But I say that to say, I think you can date without money. And probably, I think it's better to date without money because then you'll find out who's there from who's not there.
Nah, 100%. 100%. And I think most things in life, those things that make you happy, your partner, family, all those things, it takes money to a certain degree, but there's certain things that there's a level that you can achieve without money in all of those areas. And I feel like I think for a lot of people, especially in these times, I think that's what you got to focus your energy in, rather than focusing on money, because, I struggle. I struggle right now. So, I think, watch your energy and watch what you put in it.
Well, the most influential people now are the ones in shape. Because I remember I'm looking I'm flying out on Sunday and I'm thinking, let me look up what everybody's wearing to try and get some inspiration. And all I see is abs. You know what I mean? I was thinking, where am I going to get the ASOS or something? But that's all it is. If you ain't got a six-pack right now, you're not saying nothing.
Yeah, bro. Even that, if you think about that, you can't spend your money to look good on that level. You get me? No matter how much money you've got, if you're not happy with your body, you can cover it with Louis V and whatever, but you ain't really gonna have that happiness until you're looking how you really want to look. So again, the gym ain't that expensive. So watch your energy. So cool. It's nice to cover your body in expensive clothes, but it might be better to just pay the money and go to the gym.
Added Value Podcast. You know what I mean? Like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. The real ones, subscribe and share it out. You know what I mean? We see you. Peace.